What's going on, guys? Aero here, and guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about the brand new Pokemon game that's going to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch. So now that Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are out, pretty much everybody is hyped for the brand new Pokemon game that's going to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch, as this year at E3, they did confirm that a brand new Pokemon game is in development for the Nintendo Switch, and the time frame that we have so far for like a release for this is 2018 or later. And so I know a lot of people are talking about how they want this game to come out next year, and there's a lot of reasons as to why people think that the game will come out next year. Personally, I feel like the game will come out in 2019. I think it would just make more sense, and plus I would want the game to come out in 2019 so the Game Freak could have more time to work on it and make it as best as they can. But today we've got a new rumor to talk about for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, and this is actually a rumor that's been out for like around a week. I just haven't covered it, and I figured maybe some of you guys might not know about this as well, and it actually comes to us from an Easy Allies podcast. Now, this information came to me by someone on Twitter, and they tweeted to me saying like, hey Aero, I've got some inside information on Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, and apparently this information comes to us from an Easy Allies podcast. You should go and check it out and maybe upload it to your channel. So at first I was like, okay, who's Easy Allies? I had no clue who they were, so I did a quick search on YouTube, and I found out that there's actually a really cool channel for Easy Allies, and it looks like there's like a group of people there, and they have like a podcast every week or every month or something like that. So I listened to their podcast, and they did bring up Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch during some point of it, and there was someone on the podcast who claimed to have some inside information, like they've heard some rumors about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch and how they were going to do something like really revolutionary and innovative. And I actually have the clip right here from someone or on the Easy Allies podcast, so I'll play that for you guys right now.
Willing to like rethink everything.
Yes, I have heard.
Ooh, here we go.
Reliable people.
Oh.
That Game Freak was very anxious, or very nervous. I keep saying anxious. Very nervous about doing any kind of radical departure for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because they sell so well. Why would you mess with that?
And they haven't changed it.
There's no need to do it.
Yeah.
But apparently, Breath of the Wild, its reception, and the reaction to Mario at E3, so overwhelmingly positive that it convinced them that they need to make the next Pokemon game as disruptive as those two games were. That's going to be as big of an innovation and a step forward for Pokemon as those were.
So obviously the first thing that I do want to let you guys know is, just like I said before, I've never heard of Easy Allies before. I pretty much just looked up their channel for the first time for making this video after someone tweeted to me to go check it out. So I don't know anything about these people, like I've never watched them, so I don't know if we could actually like trust them, or if these people are considered reliable, or if they could actually have inside sources. So if you guys do know more information about Easy Allies, or if you guys watch them or have some information as to why we could rely on them or trust them, then please comment it down below and definitely help me out, because I don't know anything about these people. Like, I don't know if they could just be making up some random baloney here, or if they could actually have some inside information. So please let me know down below by commenting if you've got some inside information, or like just info as to why we could trust these people. Now, the rumor that we have here from the Easy Allies podcast is that Game Freak is really looking to innovate and revolutionize the Pokemon series for the Pokemon game that they're developing on the Nintendo Switch. And they talked about how they've seen all the like creativity and all the new things that they have done with other series that have been on the Nintendo Switch, such as Super Mario Odyssey for the Mario series, and how The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has innovated a lot with the Zelda series. And so they talked about how they've seen all the changes and new things that they've been doing with these series, and all of the fans, and how they've been loving all of the new things that have been coming out of these games. And so that's what they want to try to do with the Pokemon series as well. They want to do some new things on the Nintendo Switch, and that's why they would want to innovate that and make sure it does some new things, because of how they've seen how the fans really like all these new things for their other series on the Nintendo Switch. So obviously I can see this happening, because we all know that the Nintendo Switch, even though it hasn't even been out for a full year, we already know that this system is home to so many amazing games with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. These games have pretty much gotten perfect 10s everywhere when you look at a review. So obviously it's up to Game Freak to make sure that their Pokemon game that they're developing is also up to like this level of like creativity, and just the game, if they're going to be playing on par with games like Super Mario Odyssey and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, the thing I've been hearing everywhere whenever I see people talking about this rumor is because of how they mention like Super Mario Odyssey and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They're saying how since both of these games are pretty much like open world, like with Mario being like a sandbox adventure adventure where you can explore a whole bunch of areas and go wherever you want, and pretty much Zelda is just like a huge open world at this point. They're talking about how they're saying like since they're comparing these two games, that's going to mean that the Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch is also going to be open world. And while I really would love to have an open world Pokemon game, I just don't think that that's going to happen. So I'm letting you guys know right now, like you shouldn't get your hopes up for having an open world Pokemon game. There's a lot of reasons why this shouldn't happen. Now obviously I would love to have it. I mean, I even made a video like about why having an open world Pokemon game would be so awesome, but yeah, I just don't think that it's going to happen. In fact, I think Game Informer did like an interview with Mr. Masuda anyway, where they asked him like, would you love to have like an open world Pokemon game, or do you think that that could work for Pokemon? And I'll have that interview linked in the description if you guys want to go and check it out, and maybe I'll have like a clip of that playing in this video as well. But yeah, he talked about how it just wouldn't work for Pokemon. Like he said, like I don't really see that happening, or like what would you do in such an open world for Pokemon besides just catch them and stuff like that. So I mean, that's like his idea, and I just don't see that happening anyway. And the big reason I don't see an open world Pokemon game is just because of how long it takes for open world games to be developed. I mean, do you guys remember how many years we had to wait for like Breath of the Wild to come out on the Nintendo Switch? Or not even the Nintendo Switch, but like on Wii U. Like pretty much everybody was looking forward to Zelda U at that point. That's pretty much what we were still calling it. And then it got announced as Breath of the Wild. But we were looking forward to that game for so many years, and like it was like gonna come out in 2015, and then they delayed it to 2016, and then it got delayed to 2017. So obviously if Game Freak was working on an open world Pokemon game, that game wouldn't be out for years. And I'm pretty sure even if they were developing a Pokemon like open world game, they would have to have started development by like 2014, 2015 to have a game like that come out either in 2018 or 2019. It would just take a really long time to make an open world Pokemon game. I would love to have it. And also another thing is just the team at Game Freak is pretty small. Like if you think about it, I mean, I don't know if I could find a picture, but if I could, I'll show it to you guys. It's not like a huge entire team that they have at Game Freak to work on an entire Pokemon game. They really don't have that many people, so they're gonna try as best as they can to make sure that they can make a good Pokemon game with the limited amount of people that they have. But I think that what they were trying to say with like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and with Super Mario Odyssey is because of all the innovations that have happened in these games, that's what they want to try to do with the Pokemon series. And that's what I can see happening, because we know in Breath of the Wild they've done a lot of things that they've never done before in Zelda games. And I can't speak for a lot of these things. Like if you guys have been following my channel for a long time, then you know that I've never really played any Zelda games, and so Breath of the Wild was my very first Zelda game. But still, like I know like they've done some new things, like how they have like being able to cook food and stuff like that for survival. I'm pretty sure they didn't have that in previous Zelda games. And with Super Mario Odyssey, like being able to turn into enemies and stuff like that, that's just never been in any Mario game. So I think that with these types of innovations, that's what they're trying to go for at Game Freak. They're not trying to make like an open world Pokemon game, but they're just seeing all the innovations that they've done with the Zelda series with Breath of the Wild and the Mario series with Super Mario Odyssey. So that's what they want to try to do with the Pokemon series. And I think that the Pokemon series has always been pretty good at doing this anyway. Like whenever we get like a hardware change for the Pokemon series, there's always been a lot of new things that have happened. So I think like, you know, when we went from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance, we had like wireless trading that was possible. I mean, sure, it uses that little adapter, but you were still able to trade wirelessly. You didn't need that like link cable anymore, so that was really cool. When we moved on to the DS, I think the GTS was possible there. Like we were able to actually connect our DSs to the internet and have Wi-Fi battles and stuff like that, so that was like really revolutionary for the DS. And then when we moved on to the 3DS, that's when we had like Pokemon and Me. We had a brand new typing introduced, and that's like a lot of the cool things that they've done with Pokemon when we've moved on to the new systems. Like we've had Pokemon and Me and stuff like that. We've also gotten new types, and I think recently with new generations, Pokemon really has started innovating a lot of stuff. I mean, like with Gen 6, I think it really is the one that started a lot of new things. I mean, up until Gen 5, it all was pretty much the same for the Pokemon series. And I'm sure they had some new like features and stuff, but pretty much the core gameplay was still the same. And after Gen 6, that's when they introduced a lot of stuff. Like we had the brand new fairy typing introduced, we had Mega Evolutions, which was something really interesting, and then with Gen 7, we had Z moves. So I think that this is what they're really trying to do at Game Freak. They're trying to make a lot of these innovations, and especially moving on to the Nintendo Switch, I think that there's going to be a lot of cool innovations and a lot of cool things to look forward to for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. Now quickly before I wrap up this video, I do want to talk to you guys about an article that I found online, and so this article is about an NPD analyst called Matt Piscatella. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. I'll have a link to this article down below in the description if you want to go and read it for yourself. But this article, he talked about how Nintendo could see an immense growth in their shares if they come out with Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch next year. And so he talked about how if Pokemon comes out on the Nintendo Switch in 2018, Nintendo could see up to 40% of the entire share of the gaming console market in 2018. And so he said this could easily happen if Pokemon comes out on the Nintendo Switch next year, and that the Nintendo Switch will have a huge growth. There's going to be many systems that will sell, and it really just depends on if Pokemon will come out on the Nintendo Switch in 2018. He said it really depends on that because the Pokemon scene is just so huge. There's so many players for Pokemon, and by having a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, that's going to get many of those people who have a 3DS to buy a Nintendo Switch just to play Pokemon. So that's going to sell a whole bunch of Nintendo Switches, and Nintendo is just going to be in business for a lot of huge Nintendo Switch sales if Pokemon comes out on the Nintendo Switch in 2018. So do you guys think that this is happening? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's just an analyst here. He's talking about how this could be huge for Nintendo if Pokemon makes it onto the Nintendo Switch next year. But that's all just depends on if Pokemon comes out on the Switch next year. If it doesn't, then we could still see a lot of growth because I'm sure there's going to be some amazing games on the Switch in 2018. But he's just saying if Pokemon comes on the Nintendo Switch in 2018, there's just going to be a lot of growth for Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch. So let me know what you guys think of all of this down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button and be sure to let me know all of your thoughts on this rumor. Do you guys think that it's true that Game Freak could be innovating and revolutionizing the Pokemon series for the Pokemon game that they're developing on the Nintendo Switch? What do you guys think that they could be working on? Like, what do you think are some of the innovations that they have in mind for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch? As well as, do you guys agree with this person on how Nintendo could be having a huge amount of growth if Pokemon makes it onto the Nintendo Switch in 2018? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero if you ever want to tweet me something or ask me something. I'm usually able to reply to everyone on Twitter, so definitely go and follow me there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.